Welcome back to Yang Daily. I'll be your host, Alex Cheney, bringing you all the Yang news you need to live your life right. Frightening episode tonight. I guess that's in theme with Halloween last night, but some silver linings as well. Since I expect the election to be a long haul, I've decided to take tomorrow off so that I can get some things done before the chaos begins. You have been warned. Shout out to our Tier 3 patrons, Peter Park and Shay Meehan, as well as all our other patrons. Your support keeps me going. Starting off on a serious and sour note tonight, a Biden campaign bus was attacked by a mob of Trump vehicles yesterday in Texas. The mob of dozens of pickup trucks and SUVs was gathered with intent to harass the bus, waiting to ambush it on the side of the highway, where they surrounded it, engaged in reckless driving, obstructing and tailgating the bus, and sideswiping a follow-on car. The Biden staffers said that there were attempts to run the bus off the road. Trucks in the lead attempted to slow the bus, and it is left to the imagination what might have happened if they had successfully stopped it. Make no mistake, this is terrorism, tactics normally reserved for the likes of ISIS, when they seek to frighten locals into compliance. This is anti-democratic political intimidation of exactly the sort Trump has been promoting and breeding among his followers, and it has no place in America. This country was founded on the principle of the peaceful competition of ideas and the peaceful transfer of power via a vote of the people on who they wish to lead. What we see here is the antithesis of that and dangerously close to violence. To clear all doubt, Trump endorsed these acts on Twitter, saying that the people involved did nothing wrong. Local police were called and eventually escorted the bus to safety. The FBI is now investigating. That any president would endorse such fundamentally anti-American behavior is abhorrent and only further solidifies analysis of Trump as an autocrat assaulting democracy and America. Vote him out. Dr. Fauci seems to have had his restraint finally broken by the White House's admissions that they have no intent to stem the spread of COVID. In a recent interview, he criticized the Trump administration as having put the country in the worst possible position at the worst possible time, as the winter months bring a resurgence of the virus. He also made no qualms in denouncing the coronavirus task force member that Trump has now turned to, Scott Atlas, who shares Trump's derision for everything experts advise and believes in herd immunity, which has already been proven impossible to achieve with COVID. Speaking of the disaster he's made of the pandemic, while Trump has been crowing about the latest report from the Bureau of Economic Analysis showing that GDP increased greatly in the third quarter, what he neglects to mention is that it is still far below pre-pandemic levels, and more importantly, that Americans' personal income has not recovered with it, dropping, in fact, by 2.7%. While billionaires are making out great, it's doing nothing for common citizens who are still suffering a terrible recession on top of a worsening pandemic. Another interesting data point was that entrepreneurship has increased during the crisis, presumably due to many finding themselves with a lot of free time on top of a sudden influx of cash from unemployment insurance. It's almost as if people being financially secure and free to pursue work of their choosing leads to more small business. If only we had a mechanism to achieve such conditions on the regular. On the other hand, ProPublica just released an article on how unemployment insurance is such a mess that it is actually harming many of its recipients instead of helping them. In short, bureaucratic errors made by the agency in determining who qualifies are being offloaded onto the applicants, with many finding themselves suddenly in massive debt as the government demands that they repay all the UI they've received because they never actually qualified for it. Talk about the absolute last thing that people need at a time like this. This is just one more reason that conditional aid is not the way to go. Speaking of which, Scott has put out a new article for UBI that approaches it from an engineering perspective. Basically, he argues for UBI as a social redundancy for inevitable failings of income from other sources, serving as a failsafe. Also, how the unreliability of current welfare programs make them an ineffective safety net. I really like it. It's worth a read. Beyond talk, the city of Richmond is going to put these ideas of UBI to the test. They just announced a 2-year $500 a month guaranteed income pilot for 18 working families who have kids but currently don't make a living wage and don't qualify for other assistance. Similar to others, the project will be funded by both CARES Act money and private donations. As this pilot benefits citizens suffering from what's known as the welfare cliff, where they are making just enough earned income to lose benefits, but not enough to really have a livable income, it could provide valuable evidence for the value of unconditionality. Moreover, it will be studied closely by no less than 4 research agencies: the Federal Reserve Banks of Atlanta and Richmond, the Family Independence Initiative, and the Center for Guaranteed Income Research, each of which will study different aspects and effects. I have a feeling we know what they'll find. Yang has made his first TikTok video, and I got a kick out of it. Check it out below. Yang also was back on the trail giving rousing speeches for Biden and Harris today in Pennsylvania. And finally, I hope you all had a great Halloween. If you want to see how Yang Daily and crew celebrate, follow the link below for pictures and video of our setup. Trust me, it's worth it. And add pictures of your own to the thread if you have them. #YangGangHalloween. And that'll do it for today's Yang Daily. Bookmark and share the highway incident, GDP article, UI debt article, Scott's UBI article, Yang's TikTok, and the Richmond AGI pilot. Add your Halloween to the thread. Help recruit other organizations to the cause and get everyone to sign the UBI petition. Flood Congress and Trump with calls, tweets, and letters using the Resist bot or Income Movement easy contacts below. If you need help, consult Humanity Forward, the Income Movement Aid Database, the Mission Asset Fund, United Way, or the H3 podcast thread. And don't forget to Yang Daily.